Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this meditation. So as usual, we will start with establishing a bodhicitta motivation. So we can remember how we have been trapped in the vicious prison of cyclic existence since beginningless time for countless lives. We fail to see reality as it is. We apprehend all phenomena as existing truly from their own side. We don't realize how our mind is merely imputing phenomena. Therefore, all sorts of mental afflictions arise, such as attachment, anger, jealousy, pride. And due to these afflictions, we accumulate so much negative karma that propels us from life to life again and again, inevitably encountering experiences we have no control on. Sometimes experiences that seem pleasant, but in reality the Buddha taught that all contaminated things are in the nature of suffering. Even mundane happiness actually is like a bait that traps us in this vicious prison of the mind. If we don't take the opportunity of this precious human life to put an end to these afflictions, to this self-grasping ignorance, then again and again we will be reborn due to the power of karma and afflictions, without any control. Try to generate a strong wish to be liberated from this vicious circle. May I be free from suffering and its causes. Then let us contemplate that all our dear Mother sentient beings are in the exact same boat, the exact same situation. Because of not seeing reality as it is, all sorts of afflictions arise. Because of these, our dear Mother sentient beings are constantly accumulating all sorts of karmas, mainly negative karmas, that propel them again and again from life to life, experiencing all the different types of suffering without any control. Try to give rise to strong sense of compassion. Even if you have to fake it, try to bring to mind this feeling. I don't want my dear Mother sentient beings to experience any kind of suffering. I want them to be liberated from this prison of the mind. I want them to eliminate the self-cherishing mind and the self-grasping ignorance. May all my dear Mother sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And try to recollect the kindness that you have received from sentient beings. If we consider past lives, mathematically, if we consider countless past lives, then mathematically, at one point or the other, all of them must have been kind to me, helping me, benefiting me, showing love to me. So try to generate a strong sense. I don't want them to suffer. I want them to be free from suffering. And now that I have this precious human life, this incredible, rare, and precious opportunity, I must take responsibility. I am a disciple of the Buddha. The Buddha is giving me all the keys to free my mind, to be able to benefit countless suffering beings. Only by reaching Buddhahood, the state of omniscience, will I be able to guide them perfectly. So may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all my dear Mother sentient beings. With this motivation in mind, we will start with 5 minutes of single-pointed meditation. We'll quickly remind you of the main instructions. I'll not go into detail. The first point is the posture. Remember the 7 points, Vairochana, posture. The most important is for your back to be straight, your spine to be aligned with all the vertebrae on top of each other. The second point is the object of meditation. Ideally, we would meditate, for example, on the image of Shakyamuni Buddha, but that might be difficult for beginners like me. So you can bring the object that you are used to meditate on when you practice calm abiding. And if you don't have an object that you're familiar with, you can visualize a very tiny drop of white light between your nose and your upper lip, so in this area, about 1 or 2 millimeters in diameter, and place all your attention on your object. Focus your mind on the object, tie your mind to the object. The third instruction is that during meditation, even if the meditation is only 5 minutes, distraction will come. So it might be excitement, thinking about what I'll do later in the day. It could be laxity, dullness, falling asleep. So these two errors will arise and will distract your mind, take your mind away from your object of meditation. So the fourth instruction is to use the remedies of introspection and mindfulness. So constantly you should have a part of your mind checking, introspecting. Am I meditating? Am I concentrated on my object? And if I notice that I am not concentrated, immediately I have to make the effort, without wasting any second, to forcefully bring the mind back to the object and stay on the object with mindfulness, not forgetting the object. Every time it happens, as soon as I notice, thanks to introspection, I forcefully bring the mind back to the object. So let's try this for 5 minutes. Gently come out of the meditation. And now that the mind is hopefully more concentrated, we will make further preparations before we meditate on the Lam Rim. To achieve realizations of the Lam Rim, we need to accumulate a lot of merit and purify our minds. And seek blessings. So therefore, as usual, we will do the 7 branches of practice, the 7 limb prayers, and recite the foundation of all good qualities, requesting our gurus to bless our minds to realize all the points of the Lam Rim. So we can remember our bodhicitta motivation from the beginning and visualize in front of us Shakyamuni Buddha, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all your holy spiritual friends, gurus. You can visualize all Buddhas around them. On the sides of Shakyamuni Buddha is Arya Manjushri, the Buddha of compassion, and Arya Maitreya on the other side. Arya Maitreya, who gave the teachings on compassion and bodhicitta to Arya Asanga, and these teachings have been passed down to us from generation to generation. You can visualize the Nalanda masters of the past, all omniscient beings, countless Buddhas in front of us. In front of them, the Dharma is represented in the form of texts, having the nature of light, radiating golden light. And all around us are seated sentient beings. We are guiding them into this practice. You can start by visualizing our mother on the left and father on the right. When we recite the refuge and bodhicitta prayer, we can remember our 2 aspirations of renunciation and bodhicitta. Lama Zopa Rinpoche was advising us when we recite the first 2 lines to contemplate that if we don't achieve realizations in this life before we die, then again and again we will fall to the lower realms and suffer for countless eons, wasting countless eons there before we might eventually get the precious opportunity of a human life again. Therefore, we must achieve realizations in this life, in this very life. And while we recite the 2 last lines, we can contemplate that all sentient beings are waiting for us to become Buddhas in order to guide them, especially the sentient beings who have a strong karmic bond with us, like our family in this life, our friends in this life. So as usual, we'll recite 1 time in English and chant it twice in Tibetan. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Chodam Soge Chonam Lai Jonjo Bado Dagni Gyalso Ichi Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknamki, Jora Penchir Sangye Jubarai Sho. Sangye Jodan Tsoki Chonam Lai, Jonjo Bado Dagne Gelsoiji, Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknamki, Jora Penchir Sangye Jubarai Sho. And to further enhance our bodhicitta, we'll read the four immeasurables. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. So due to time, we'll only stop at the rejoicing part. If you can, try to contemplate the meaning of all the other points as we recite them. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. So take a moment to rejoice in the positive actions of all the enlightened beings, Shakyamuni Buddha, all his deeds, all the teachings that he tirelessly gave for so many years, decades. And think of all the activities of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all your holy gurus, all the Sangha members living in the vows of ordination, living in monasteries, studying the Dharma, contemplating, meditating on the teachings, offering service, doing retreat, rejoice in the virtuous actions that your near and dear ones and yourself are doing. And then we continue. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. Quickly offer a short mandala to accumulate merit. You can visualize offering the universe to all the Buddhas in front of us. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon, I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. So quickly remember why it is important to be mindful that our death is coming. If we don't remember that we might die, even before the end of this session, we don't know when we will pass away. If we don't remember death, we will not practice the Dharma. We will create many negative and wise actions, creating more causes for suffering. And at the time of death, we'll have a lot of regret. On the other hand, if we remember death, our actions will become very beneficial. Our spiritual practice will become powerful. If we have kind of a fear for death now, If we prepare for death now, then at the time of death actually we'll be so peaceful, happy, we'll have no regret. So today we'll do the 9-point meditation on death that Kabirji introduced on Monday. The first point is to remember that death is definite. You cannot avoid it. Everyone has to die. You can bring to mind historical figures. From the 19th century, for example. None of them are around anymore. All have passed away. And all of us, we might live maybe maximum 100 years more. Definitely we will pass away at some point. There is no way to escape that, to avoid it. And continuously, the time of death is getting closer. The Mazopa Rinpoche used to say that, used to advise that we can contemplate a clock like this and observe the seconds that are ticking and think every time the seconds move, we are closer to death. And we can contemplate that the time that we have for practicing Dharma, working on our minds, is very limited. Time is very small. We spend maybe a third of our life sleeping. When we are babies and young kids, too young to understand the teachings and meditate on them. When we get old, no more energy or mental clarity. And in the middle of our lives, we get so busy with work, family, and other obligations, and mostly distractions, especially these days, social media and so on and so forth. So the amount of time we have for Dharma practice is so small. Yet we will die, and every second we are closer to death. So develop a strong determination to use your life to practice the Dharma. To have no regret at the time of death and be ready with merit, hopefully realizations. Then the second major point is that it is uncertain when we will die. The human life expectancy is uncertain. You might know around you people who are younger than you, who already passed away. You hear in the news, recently in Morocco, for example, all these families, about 3,000 people and counting, have passed away in the earthquake last weekend, among which many kids. And there are many causes for death. Natural disasters such as this is one. There are so many diseases, accidents. You can think of so many ways we can possibly die. And our body is very fragile. We can easily lose our life due to a sickness or an accident. Therefore, generate a strong determination to start practicing the Dharma now. As the future is uncertain, we don't know how much time we have or when we will die. So I must start practicing now, not wasting any second. And then finally contemplate that when we pass away, only spiritual practice will help us. When we pass away, we are going alone. Our loved ones cannot help us. Our possessions and enjoyments cannot help us. Our body that we take so much time taking care of and cherishing so preciously, this body also, we will leave it behind. It cannot help us at the time of death. Only our mind is carrying on beyond death. So therefore, we should work on that mind. Make a strong decision to practice the Dharma now, and practice it purely, without being mixed with worldly concern. Thinking beyond this life. I will die. I might die at any time. When I pass away, only my spiritual practice will help. Therefore, I decide to practice the Dharma, to start practicing now, and to practice it purely. Let us dedicate the merits that we have accumulated in this session, and all the merits that we have accumulated in the past, all the merits we will accumulate in the future. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. We can pray for the long and healthy lives of all our lamas. May they continue to teach us the Dharma for a very long time. Let us pray for the swift return of our gurus who recently showed the aspect of passing away. May they come back in a fresh body and continue to guide us. We can dedicate so that there may be no wars, famines, epidemics, quarreling, fighting. May there be peace and harmony. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a beautiful day.